solution. I couldn't like figure out what to do in terms of videos to make. So I decided that I'm just going to stream what I'm doing because that would be a lot more fun. These streams are just kind of just gonna be like, you know, just me chilling and doing my own thing, and yeah, you could just chill and hang. Alright, speaking of doing my own thing, this is what I've been working on. I should just have a look. I mean, this is pretty much how it is. Sometimes I won't be talking, sometimes I will, but for the most part, it's pretty much just this. Say hi. And just test out. I actually spent like the past hour setting up and, you know, doing stuff, so I will be testing if some things are working as I hope they should. Oh, okay. There's the little thing. Let me take a quick look at the chat. Okay, I can see the chat there. Nice. Alright, so I've got tic-tac-toe in the back. I believe it's a single click. Yeah, it is. And I've got you can play against the AI. I made a little bot, and he's quite tough. Like, he is not going to let me win. I guess no one's gonna win this. I do have an idea for how this could go. I'm thinking sort of like an infinite one, because I saw like on an ad somewhere. So like an infinite one where kind of like you can only have 3 pieces on the board at a single time. So only 3 pieces, and you just move them around until someone wins. And this is the last thing I made. Let me just check that the animation is okay. Nice. So this is a double click. And look at that. And it works. I think I'm pretty close to winning here, so I'm just going to move that there like this. Okay, that needs to be on top. Maybe I make the animation duration a little bit shorter, because right now it's a little bit too long, so I can, I don't know. That's what the streams are for. Okay, so this is definitely on that side of her. I need to shuffle this around like that. So that is correct. Let's just move this all the way. I think I'm actually going to solve this really quickly. I think. Maybe not. Yeah, let's just chase this angle. That needs to come down. I mean, I'm supposed to be doing random stuff, but this is also how the streams would go. Just fair warning. I will end up playing the game a lot. Let's move this here. Move that there. It may look like I don't know what I'm doing, but I do. Trust the process, trust the process. I absolutely have no idea what I'm doing, but let's bring that over there like this. Okay, look. That needs to go there. What's the move? What's the move? This is actually going to be a shorter stream. I'm just setting up an, I don't know. But this is going to be rather short. I guess maybe once I finish solving this, I will end the stream for now. Damn. Alright, let's see. If I move this here, I can move this there. Move that there. No, this needs to go that way. So, like this. Like this. This maybe. Tuck that in there. And then tuck that up. Bring this back down. So this is good, kinda. It needs to go here. No, I should not push these all over. Alright, so this is the move. Right, this is the move. Boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Actually, bring this down. Bring that down. Move that up. Bring that down. Side, back, boop. Alright. It's coming together now. Boom, boom. No way, we ended up right back where we started. Okay, okay. Let's move. This needs to be like that. And then this needs to be like that. See? I don't know how I did it, but I did it. I'm gonna move. I mean, I can move these two up and then it's gonna win, but I'm just gonna boom. Yay. Alright, that is it for actually. I think I am going to show off the fact that I can actually have it be, I can have it dynamically. I can dynamically set the difficulty of it. I can dynamically set its difficulty, and I also want to just take a moment to sort of like test the dual stream switching. Oh, yeah, look at that. No chat in this mode, but okay, so I have it where tic-tac-toe grid size. Oh, I made it an editable. I forgot. It's been a while since I yep, it's been a while. Anyway, let's do 5. Okay, so send game. And I guess start it again. And now it's going to be a 5x5 grid. Well, if I hope it is. Yeah, it is. Nice. Let's just check. Okay, so animations are smooth. And yeah. I can actually turn off this behavior, or you can like move entire rows like this as well. So if I believe it's on here. Yeah, multi-tile sliding. And I can also adjust the duration here, so let's put it at 0.15. It should be a lot faster. Okay. Well, let's be real, I'm not gonna solve this like even as a kid playing. I think the difficulty I got gonna attempt to solve it on stream because that's not really what the agenda is today. But let's just test the animation duration of the slides. Okay. Oh, and of course you can put anything on here, really. I'm not. Why am I explaining it? I don't know. Oh, there we go. Click. So it's a 4x4 now, right? And that's the thing. Like, if you have the animation duration too little, plus I'm on. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm on 200 ping. But yeah, this is a lot snappier. Next thing I want to do is add sounds to the stuff. So I want to add like wood sliding, you know, sound effects. Kind of like I have a knife thing here. Okay, I need to fix that, whatever the heck that was. But yeah. Oops. Anyway, I should set that. Actually, I haven't tried this, but what happens if you set it to 2? Because right now, it actually starts from a solved state and it goes backwards. So I'm curious if what am I doing? I'm just talking to myself. It's what it looks like, but I'm actually on a Discord call, so it's not as sad as you think. Oh. So logically, I should be able to just... yeah. You could do that. Is that it? Yeah. Okay, so it always start from a soft state and sort of like scramble, because otherwise it's possible to end up with an unsolvable version of it. This looks nice. I'm actually curious. I do have it accepting an integer, but what if I made it accept a float? What would we see? Alright. Yep, collisions are working. Alright, so that's, wait. Yeah, the last thing I worked on was the fade-in animation for this. I don't know how I feel about that. I might have to look at it later. Alright, well, that's the end of the stream for today. Is it? I don't know, maybe not. I'm just gonna keep on going because, yeah. Now I'm going to like go back into the Discord call, and it's kind of like, yeah, the stream is gonna go to like what it usually will be in the future, where it's just me doing random stuff. Although I kind of want to go sleep though. I'm way too tired. I will be back. I want to test this as well. feel like you are pretty happy about your achievement there, but it's all right. No, I'm not flexing. Like he said, he said, he did something no one has ever done, and I'm just telling him that I had already done it. So don't worry, man. A tone mapper. It's it's sort of it. Think how do I put it? Think of it as color correction. I guess that's the easiest, you know, term for it. Think of it as color correction, mm. but slightly more thingies. Like for example, um, mm, for example here, I crunch the colors using just a simple, you know, that. I'm not OIM, but you know, I'm streaming on YouTube. Yeah, I'm on YouTube. Mhm. I could actually set up multi-stream to Twitch as well. let's just say I didn't say anything just now. What am I doing today? What is the agenda? I don't know. What was I gonna do today? It's a new day. I actually have something to do. It's a new day for me. Yay, it's a new day for all of us. Except for Vulture, of course. What time is it? It's not time for a limerick. Don't. No, man. I don't want to. I don't want to hear no limericks, please. Bro wants to tell us about the guy from Nantucket. Anyway, what am I doing today? Okay, you know what? Oh yeah, Infinite TikTok. Let's do some of that. Bro read everything. Oh, that's Kafka. Isn't he in the channel? Like, why is he not talking? Why is he typing? Bro is too shy. It's crazy. That's crazy. All right, let's see Kafka. How can I make a variable which sings with all players? So I change the number. But what do you mean like changes with like syncs with all players? We don't have live variables yet, so you kind of have to either have every player like wherever the player is reading the value. Yeah, like if you, oh yeah, you know, Ray got you. I mean, I don't know his use case. I was gonna answer, but you know, never mind. It's fine. I don't make I don't make complicated stuff. It's pretty simple, the things I do. Well, that's not a syncs with all players variable. It's just a variable that exists on its own, and players, you know, you have a setter and a getter, and any player can set it or not setter getter, but like you know what I mean. It's just a variable on its own. It's literally just a variable, and you make it so that anyone, not anyone, but you make it so a thing can increase the value or decrease the value, and then you make it so anyone can set, you know, trigger those things. So it's not a per player variable, it's just a variable on its own. Yep. You're welcome. All right. What am I? Oh yeah, you know, I guess I'll do the sliding sounds. I mean, it's not a bother. It was a pretty simple question too. Sliding sounds. I feel like I should have gotten Polyshort's wood sound effects. message that you know, create in verse gets local, like the string part of the message gets localized. Yeah, by editing the PF files, and you can do that yourself. Wait. Doing stuff. Stuff. Wait, what did you say, Ray? I didn't hear you over Vulture. Uh-huh. Wait, if you've got a message and you localize it, it does convert it to a string. Yes. You can't. That's the whole idea of messages, that it'll do that localization. Like localization is, you can't pick, if you want to convert thing into a specific language, then you would type out the language. Okay, what is your use case here? Like what exactly, like, what do you, uh-huh. Okay. If you have your own text system, why are you using messages? Well, I mean, ideally, if you went the route of making your own local. Oh, hi, Kareem. Oh wait, give me a second. I just saw this. No, someone joined my stream. I'm no longer alone. Yay. Um, 1 second. Yay. Okay. Wait, what I was saying was. What I was saying was, if you're making your own localization system, then I would think you would have a settings page and the player would choose their own language there. And you would handle all that. But if you want to make, like, the localized function converts a message to a string, so what is the issue here? No. It converts to string in the appropriate language. So even though I'm trying to wrap my head around how that would work on the verse side, string you get when a localized function runs depends on the client's settings, in-game settings. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is something you should test. Like change your settings and test, or just see what it gives you. Because like, um, or do you don't want to test it? I thought you love testing things regardless of if I gave you an answer or not. No, because I could give you an answer and you'd still go test. So it's like, because the way I see it, localize will give you the string based off of what you're doing. So if the person who triggered the localized function is on a, Spanish, for example, that function would run and return like the Spanish localization of the string. And then that's what's going to be passed into the text block system, into those, your custom font, your custom text thingies, and it'll return the appropriate textures matching that, right? You see? I literally just said it. Yeah, yeah, you should give it a try. But then again, anyway, carry on. I didn't make a message. You need the localizers specifier. Do 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 do. It's with the Z. Wait. No. What is the message at the? What are you doing though? Okay. Oh, carry on. No, just carry on. Oh, bye. Bye, Go. Yeah. No, that's a message. Yep, that's. Oh, heavens knows what you're doing, brother. I can't read it because everything is too spaced apart. Wait a minute. Look at that. The localizer is on the wrong place. It, again, I can't read because everything is too far apart. No, it should be. No, I'm not making it bigger. I'm already zoomed in. It should be like by the public. That's where it should be. It should be localizers public colon type message. Yes, I'm just. What did he say? Yeah, what does it say? Okay, Vulture, you're a good friend, Vulture. He wouldn't even say it out loud. That is sad. I'm trying to help you out, and that's what I get. I get called a fat, greasy himbo. flexing. I'm not flexing on anybody. Why would I be flexing? I don't flex. So it's like this is back something. Alright. I'm not flexing on anyone. It's not my fault that I know things. Like, am I supposed to unknow things? You know what? You're right. I know too much. From now on, I don't know things. Yeah. That's what cost. Cast the rest of the type. Merge as a component. I'm just gonna do like a spotlight. Transform. Transform on the spot component. Entity. For this, do return. Of course, can do that. Okay. So this should be faster. Can't have this, unfortunately. Alright, so I want to see get first component of type. Let's do accept me? No, you didn't upset me. I'm alright. I'm not a snowflake. Fast get first component. I'm just trying to I want to optimize my thing. Get first component type. Blah 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 blah. Alright. Do you hate the Australians now? What's going on? Yeah. Stop. Yeah, be nice. Me? No, I'm not. I'm not smart. I literally stopped knowing things. Vulture's gonna accept that apology. Good, good. You should be more optimistic. Being a pessimist is not good. Never helped anybody. I'm always optimistic. What am I looking for? Consequences. Okay. Build localization. Did you need to enable auto localization from your in the project settings? Automatically build localization. Wait, no, I don't know things. How I shouldn't be answering you, bro. I'm trying to not know things. No, did he? Gotta say that. I have a girlfriend. I mean, I don't know, man. All right, guys. All right, so I'm gonna profile this, but I need something that has like lots of a girlfriend. Oh. Metro. Let's run this twice. No man. Da da da. All right. So run it twice, just in case. I really should like wrangle these. That. And then build. Search array. Okay. Okay, so the first is the regular, and then the second is the fast. Oh. Oh, wait. Please don't crash. I cannot afford to have this call audible on my stream. I'm never setting the source. Good lord. Oh, I crashed. Nice. It's actually working? Alright, let me see. Oh wait, no, I know how to do it. I thought you were showing the flipping custom. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Bro's gonna leave to go make tea mid localization check. It's crazy. That is indeed wild. You should. Just make. Hey. Oh, rip. Okay. Oh, what is oh my, what is that? That's like a new loading background? That's cool. I like that. Let's go for this times. Okay. I think this is cool. Nice Ray left and Nice Ray isn't coming back. Ray has never been nice. Never was. He was just faking it. Okay. Crazy work. Whatever you say, man. Yeah, there's some you can Google. There's some. I think some people even make like tools or whatever. taught English. Oh, I haven't muted. Isn't that the person who only comes in here to do Roblox stuff? Yeah, that's what I haven't. Yeah, I mean, I didn't say it wasn't fun. Like, stop assuming stuff, man. Like, you're projecting right now. Yeah, you're the projector. Log first. Maybe I need to like play. Let's see, do something. Okay. Bro, what the heck? Hmm. Okay, wait. So here was the problem. I don't know why I was doing this, but I should be boom, boom. I should profile. Mm-hmm. Print. Yeah, I mean, will it? Yeah, you do. You do. All right. Okay. Vulture's looking at Chat GPT code because you're too lazy. I can't even. No one's gonna come after you if you already go after yourself like that. Because people would usually be like, "Oh my God, why are you using ChatGPT? You're too lazy." But they can't say that if you already see it first. So it's bros pre-firing the accusations. All right, let's see this. What the heck is going on? What's up? Nice, congratulations. Okay. Wait, I helped you and you still have problems? Oh yeah, you, okay, yeah, of course, right. I knew something was off there, but I was like, he's gonna figure it out. Cause like cause I did mention it for a second, like this is gonna be flattened, but yeah. Mm, yeah. But at least now you understand the whole concept of array comprehension from the for stuff. It's kind of like how you'd want to do it. Um, I mean, that's one way to do it, to have an array of an arrays like that. I can show you how I did. I can show you how I did all right now, but I have to open a stream on this thing. For like the grid grid-based stuff I've done so far, tic-tac-toe and the puzzle, I did my grids slightly different. Let me just share. I'm actually streaming twice, but it's okay. Are they? I would say it's. All right, so. Tic-tac-toe, right here. Here I have my grid creation spawn slots. So what I'm doing is like this. So it's not a multi-dimensional array in terms of, you know, multi-dimensionality. It's just a flat array, but I know where the rows are, like the rows and columns are gotten. Like for the rows, since you know you're going across, it's just the regular division by the row counts. This is a tic-tac-toe is, you know, it's 3 by 3, so that's why I didn't I didn't put a variable or whatever. But for the row, it's the regular division, and I'm using quotient because I don't want it to be a float and I don't want to get irrational. And then for the columns, you're doing a modular division. So for every row, it would do one. It would like return the column count up until the next row, and then it would reset. So this is oh, well, I mean, writing a multi-dimensional array is also. Oh wait, here's an alternative way you could also even do the multi-dimensional array. You want to think about it that way. Let me write it here. So let's say you have var, or whatever, you don't need a var. Yeah, it's whatever. Classic. Okay. You can have var classic, and it's an array of integers. I'm guessing this is what you have, right? Here's another way you could do it. No. So, that's new, by the way. I hope it is. it either is or it's not. You could do this. Think about it. Right? Yeah. And this might be easier than managing, like, wrapping your head around this. Yeah, they all do. Alternatively, you could also just do like an array of what? Vector 2. Yeah. But that's just for like 2 things. Anyway, just tossing the ideas. There's always multiple ways to do stuff. What the? Whose stream was I watching? Good lord. I was quick with it, so it's alright. Why is my thing not printing? I don't even know, bro. I'm more worried about why I'm trying to profile something and it's not profiling. It's not printing. Baguette component is on what? Let me make sure it's actually simulating. replace this and then go do what you want to do. It's sort of a no-brainer, isn't it? I'm sorry. Wait, is that why I'm losing? The Bouquet components is literally not on. Wait. Bouquet cut. Transform. Mesh. Interaction. No wonder the stuff is not working. It literally doesn't even have the... Okay, I think. Now I just need to remember where I'm actually supposed to put it. Cut counter. Maybe I wrote from the code. Bread amount. Dot upper. No. Bread amount is this. Bread amount gets put on where? What is bread amount actually? It's the bounds. And then the bread. I can have like an initialize, I think. Good lord. What is going on here? Yeah, you see, like this, I don't know, like lately, which stream is going on? Am I still streaming? Okay, so I'm just gonna pull this up here. Like lately, I started doing this thing where, and I'm just telling, just in case you don't. I mean, you don't have to, but like you can see with my sliding tiles. So this thing right here at the very top, where I just document where the component is supposed to stay, right? Like the entity it's supposed to stay. And it just hit me because previously I didn't do that. Like I would just run my components. And right now I just realized out of the blue, because I moved some folders around, it broke the references, that this component is not on where it's supposed to be. And I actually have absolutely no idea where it's supposed to go in this hierarchy. So just a little call out, but it might be a good idea to start, you know, just adding a little bit more documentation about where it's supposed to go. Okay, well, I'm going to go find out where it's supposed to be, I guess, based on, I don't know, based on stuff. Cut counter. What the heck is this? It's material. So I get that from here, which means this is a parent to cut counter. I'm actually so smart, look at that. So it's supposed to be on this. Boom, found it. Actually going to the prefab. Cut counter. Put packet. Boom. Alright. So, actually now I think about it, that is what I was profiling. This. But now that I think about it, I sure. Bro chased me down with the thing I did not want to see the most. That is vulture. Well, I'm glad that I'm easy to find. I don't want to be hard to find. But of all the things, Limerick. Thank you. You'd have to find the streams to know. So sorry. Yeah, right. Yeah, he meant Nantucket. And well, can't really say anything once he said it already. Okay. Start. Okay, so you see, like, actually, yeah. So, yeah, that is. If you comprehend the entire array and then return the first element, that is slower than just doing a. No, I'm trying to optimize my code. Oh my goodness, bro. All right, Ray. You should focus on your stuff, okay? Yeah. Oh, there it is. Good lord. Let me see. So what is your language right now? So the bottom left one is a text block. And then from the TPS stuff. Okay, so it is a text block. And then you're passing in the message into the text block, right? And it's showing the locale properly. Okay. So where did you do the localizers of the message? Wait, did you like localize the thing and wait, just print the string. Don't wait, no wait, hold up. That is not gonna work. That is not gonna work. That is not going to work. Widget text dot set text vstring. Wait, like hover over. so hover over vstring, the one in the set text stuff. No, the second one, so I can see the type of what's going in there. The one in the set text parentheses. Yeah, vstring. Okay, so that is okay. So click into set text. Wait. Set and text. Oh wait, this is your custom widget. Oh, okay. No, what I want you to do is print that string. Right? Just to... Wait. No, wait. So what's the one in the first slot? Like, is that just a hard-coded English one? Oh. Okay, so okay. I thought you had like two different things on the. Okay, so the one in the message is just passing the English, and the one in the print is also passing the English, but the... Oh wait, hold up. It makes sense. It makes sense. Like the message is only it only shows the player message. Like the message only shows the player's localized version when it is a message. When you convert it to a string, you get back the original thing that you localized. No. Like you don't localize multiple. You localize one thing into multiple things. So the localized function converts the message back to the original string that you localized. So that's why you're getting the English. You don't. It that's what I said initially. Like it automatically happens in the message type itself. The message type is special in that it does that. That's why I told you that you need to make your own. You know, it just circles back. It just circles back. No, there isn't, besides asking them. All right, well, have fun localizing and whatnot. You're welcome. I'm glad I could help. Okay, Vulture. Okay. The verse, book of verse. Oh, hello, Pollutions. I should look at chat more. I just kind of go off assuming no one's watching. Yep, it's literally what it says there. You can't retrieve the automatic localization. Well, you can't. Oh wait, no. I mean, I can turn this up, but like I don't know. I can turn up mic, but I didn't want it to pick up like the AC and stuff. It was. That's crazy. I hope I don't crash. Maybe you need to turn up your volume. You know what? F it. Oh! Oh, wait, no. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I don't know how that happened, but my thing kind of. I'm gonna cycle through my scene, so it's gonna. I didn't know that my one of the modules for the game went off. So I should set this back to 25. Yeah, like the main thing actually went off. I had the mic. Let me just adjust because I already tested the values. I think it was 35.1. Okay. Okay. So, oh snap. No, no, no. I want to test. Right now I'm actually just optimizing. Initially I had this function. Like if you like if you have a generator and you want to get the first thing in the generator, this was how I was doing it. But then I just realized that not now, but a few days ago, that what this does is you take the generator and you get everything first and then you return the first one. And it's like, well, it's kind of smarter to just do an early return. So I want to see which one is actually faster. So I am testing and profiling to get the faster one. Let me just. Let's do this, then profile, killer, and then fast. Oh, I'm always happy to talk about my cursor stuff. As long as I don't crash right now, because, yep. Oh, wait, okay. I'm going to do like a quick setup of the second one. No, you can't. Yep. It runs the localize function under the hood. Oh, nice, we crashed, lovely. After a minute of 6-7. Okay. Yep. All right. So this one should have the bindings. Okay. So I just set up. I'm gonna have to wait until I go back to lobby. But this one is gonna be the one that you can move around, and this one is gonna be the regular one. As for the I was on the wrong thing anyway. As for the how it was set up, let's just go over that a little bit. there is just one code, and it's this one. Oh, we. So, now I think about it, I have like documentation for. One second. Let me just load session. I have documentation, and it's the documentation that actually has my stuff being like so long. Anyway, so like anything specific, or should I go over both of them? Because the first one is the locked version of it, which is the one that's in the reticle, and it's kind of just I have grant cursor entitlement, add cursor to player. Okay, so let's just do the locked version first. So I actually have like my audio is in the blueprint because I don't want to use audio devices, because if you wanted audio to play per player, you would use audio devices, but I didn't want to have any devices or rely on as little devices as possible. So right now the main devices I need are the input triggers, and then a camera if I'm using the mouse type one. But for the audio, because when you click, it has an audio playing on it, I have the audio file in a blueprint, which is right there. So it's just as a animation in the blueprint. And I have verse variables to play those animations. Okay. So yeah, when I add the cursor to player, I just register them for, the input trigger, and then I add the blueprint to the player, and I just play the audio from there. Oh, I mean, that's all like basic stuff. So I guess what you're looking for is this bad boy right here. This is the meat and beans of everything. Well, this raycast. 1 second, let me just look at this stuff. So it's like honestly barely negligible, to be honest, but it is faster by like 0.05 seconds almost every time. And I'm sure the difference, like this is pretty much consistent. It's always that amount. Anyway, let's go back to here. Just do one final cleanup of that and profile. That. Okay, so Scenegraph, easy stuff once you get into it. So when you click, whenever a player clicks, that's when I run this function. Right? Why do there so many thingies? But yeah, it's on clicking, I run that function. Everything else is just fluff. And what it does is we start out by this is how far I want to, like the interaction distance. And I define it as a variable in here because I will set it to, well, different things depending on different things. But ultimately, this is just the interaction distance. And then this is where you're clicking from, which will be different depending on other stuff as well that you'll see. And then rate points in Inverse, in Scenegraph Verse, you're able to define like a custom collision primitives. So you can have a box, you can have a sphere, you can have a point. So a point for raycast is pretty much what you want. Just think of it like an infinitely small dot. It's just a point, you know. Because if I had had any other box, any of these, then it would have, you know, more volume. So defining a collision point, and each collision element has a collision profile that you need to set. Do you need to set it? Probably do. You don't, because it has a default external, but it has a default. But I just said it because initially what I wanted was I didn't want it so that you couldn't click on things that weren't visible. But then, and that's what I actually had a custom one. But then I found out that, okay, you also need to set the response on the object, which we can't do right now. So for now, this is just a placeholder, honestly. But you set a ray point, and then the ray length is how far. So I have this whole thing set up so that in the component itself, so on each component, right, on each component, you're able to set, because like if you stand on here and it has a cursor mode, it'll give you the cursor with these settings. And if you stand on here, it'll give you the cursor with these settings. It's still like any of them will click on something only if it's a valid option for that click. So for example, if you set this one to, if you set this to filtering rules, if you set this to interact with everything, then you can interact with everything when you have this cursor selected. And if you set this to interact with only some things, then you could interact with some things when you have this cursor granted. And, you know, just the settings, you can have custom settings on each. So here, the ray length, first thing I'll check is if the max, so I have like in the raycast, because I also, it's kind of like just making it robust, really. I also wanted to be able to call this function externally by things that aren't really even using cursors. So like if I just want to do a raycast, I can just find a random cursor component in my scene, or I can even just add one on the fly and then use this function just for the raycast. So that's why this is public, because I want to be able to use this function regardless of, you know, wherever. So, and if you're calling this externally, you can pass in a max interaction distance that isn't tied to, well, any interaction distance on the actual component itself. So it starts out at -1. So if it is greater than 0, that means that the, you know, and the reason I have it at -1 and instead of, you know, like this, is because if I did this, then I would have to initialize this value every single time I want to do this, and I don't want that. So initialize to -1, and if it's greater than 0, then I'm going to use this value. But if it's not, that means, you know, the person didn't put a custom one. So I will try to use the one that's on the device. This one is the one on the device. And this one is an optional float. And if it is false, that means the person who placed the cursor in the scene didn't set one, right? So in that situation, I would use sort of like an infinite. This is not infinite, but for all purposes, this is infinite as it gets. Voice cracked, lovely. Okay, so that's just the ray length stuff. And then we get to the meat of it. So we first check if it is locked. So if it's the screen type version of it, um, then I want to set a bunch of, I want to like have these be something, and it's going to be different um, if it's not the reticle type. So first I get the Fort character, and I want to set the displacement to be, I get the Fort character's view rotation, which is the camera. Displacement is like the amount, right? So I want to set that to be based off of the camera. I get the where the camera is pointing, and then I multiply that by ray length. And then the start transform is pretty much the special thing here. If it is the reticle type, I want it to start not in front of the camera, but like I don't want it to start at the camera. I kind of want it to start in front of the camera, because I wonder if I can. Why did it not push? Hold up. Because, all right, so right now the camera is like a little bit behind. Like the camera is right here. Like this wood, that's where the camera is. So if I started at the camera and let's say, you move to something that doesn't have collision, basically it would always start from like way back. Like the camera is pretty behind, like it's really far back. So I'm just moving the start position a little bit forward, so it kind of starts like closer to like where the player is vertically. Oops. So that's what I'm pushing it for by 120 units. But if it is the free type, then I'm no longer going based off of the camera's position, right? But I'm going based off of because when it's a free type, I guess I should start the game. This is where the difference between the modes kind of like start to show up. Right, when it's the free type, this thing it's an object that's in the world, and it's in front of the camera. It's about 12 or 16 units in front of the camera. Very tiny, but because it's so close to the camera, it looks like the same size as the other one. So if it's the free type, I need to get its position, right? And then this is the math for it. I kind of want to see. Oh wait, hold up. I thought I don't like the fact that this thing doesn't do anything. But this is an object in front of the camera, and it's sort of like just floating there. You know what? I'm actually just gonna put this here. Okay. So if it's the free type, I want to get the cursor, like the object, I want to get its location, and then I want to get the camera location. And the direction is kind of like because when it's locked like this, right? Maybe I should turn on draw debug. But when it's locked like this, the direction is always pointing, like straight down, right? But when it's free, like this, right now, it's not actually pointing straight. It's kind of like if you're to shoot a ray, the ray that this would hit, like it should go from the camera and like, go from the camera and sort of like off to the side a little bit. So getting that direction is kind of what I'm doing. So I get the position of this object, and then I get the position of the camera itself. And basically, this is like where the math becomes super easy, super easier than if you are doing some mapping or whatever. But think of it this way. The, like, let's say the X right now. The X is behind the cursor thing. So if you were to point, the X is directly behind the cursor thing. So if you were to point from the camera's position to the cursor, and you were to just keep pointing in that direction, you would hit the X, right? So the math for that is to get the direction vector from one position to another, you simply just subtract the 2 position from the so you subtract the from position from the 2 position, and then you make it a unit vector. You make it a unit vector, that just makes it makes the length go to 1. So that's the direction. And then, like, the reason you make it a unit vector is, again, to make it go from 0 to 1. That way, when you multiply it by a number, you can, like reliably know that it goes this amount. If I didn't make it a unit vector, and let's say my real length was 200, the value here could have been like 5. And then if I multiply by real length, then it would be 1,000 units displacement instead of actual, 200. So that's kind of what's going on. But when you subtract the from location from the to location, it gives you the direction that the stuff lies along. And then, so yeah, make your unit vector so it goes, you normalize it basically, and then you multiply by ray length. If I were to, I can actually show this, thankfully, because I have the settings turned on. Look at that. Let's do 6. And then we'll do 6 here as well. Oops. Okay. Oh, it already started. All right, so like when you are looking at, like, looking straight down, the direction is always in a very straight line. Like right there, if I do this, it's always in a very straight line where you were looking. But when you go in to cursor mode like this, and you do that, did I not set the, oh wait, it wouldn't trigger if you don't click on an entity. 1 second. Did I even click on an entity there? There we go. So you see, like, I'm looking straight, the direction kind of goes off from the camera's position in the direction, like, there. That's kind of how it does. So getting that direction, like the start to the end, I mean, on the camera's view, it looks like a dot because it is, but of course it's not. When you're looking relative to the actual player itself. Okay, so that's why I made these, because they'd be different depending on what cursor type. And then finally, we have computed what we need. We just do this guy, find sweep hits, which is the magic sauce that lets you find all objects in the scene that would intersect volume. In this case, my volume is the collision points, if they were swept from global transform along the displacement vector. So starting from the displacement vector, which pretty much in all cases really would be the camera's position. Here's, I don't even think I'm missed that. Start transform is just camera's location. Yep. And then the rotation is the view rotation, which is where you're looking from. So starting from this, whatever transform this is, well, this is all that matters really. Oops. Move the collision volume along in the direction of, the displacement has the direction in there. So move the collision volume, and then anything that it would hit, it will return a generator of that. And the hits are sorted by distance, and it would stop when it hits something that has a collision type of block. So for example, I believe, like if I were to like line these up and click, oh, like this thing, I have like a function that it's not native, like it's a custom thing I have in here, just a helper function in my debug visuals. And what it does is it draws a line from the start to the end, and then for each point, depending, so it would draw a sphere and it would color it to where the first index is going to be red, and then everything else, sorry, the first is going to be red, the last is going to be green, and then everything else would be, well, that's actually white, but it looks, well, not sure. Anyway, so if you line it up, I don't think this doesn't have a block. It stops at the last thing that hits it as a block. Right, let me see if I actually have anything of a blocking nature. Anyway, yes, it would. I was initially going to make it UI, but the reason why I went with a world object is because of our very good friend. Our very, very, very good friend, this guy. There was absolutely nothing I did that could bypass this. I tried making the material be like screen space. Of course, you could like put it UI input mode all, but then problems that arose with that, which now I actually kind of thought of an idea for it, was first of all is if you set it to input mode all, the first major problem, like right now, okay, so what happens is this. When I go, like I'm looking here, right? When I go in like that, I reset my location, because like right now if I look up, I can actually go left and right. Like this just didn't happen magically. Being able to like look up and go left and right, because what's happening is this, right? I have, you can see I have the camera, and I have the camera, I configured it to replicate the Fortnite camera, and that's just setting the, am I setting the wrong thing? No, rip. That's just setting the focal length to be 14.16. This is the focal length of the Fortnite character that specifically the focal length of the Fortnite character that gives you an AT FOV. Wait, I need to, oops, visualize processors. So that's the focal length that gives you ATF of E. So when I go into the thing, I start watching that cinematic. No, I play it a little bit, and I pause it, and I kind of like skip around to the second which is playing. So I switch to the camera, and then I level out. Like if I'm looking like this, I reset my rotation by like right around somewhere around here. I would oh right, oh yeah, so right here I would just like level my rotation, because I'm using the player's rotation. Like when the player's looking around. Oh, you can actually hear me turning. I don't know if, oh no, you can't because I'm not streaming the game audio, but I reset. I'm like when I turn around, because when you put a cinematic camera, you can still like turn around and move around your character and move around your character's camera. So the thing is, if you did, I also used the twin stick on the third person controls, but the twin stick, you can't look up and down. So you can't like do up and down. You can only do sideways. But when I put the custom cinematic camera, I can actually still look around. So I'm using like the get view rotation. I'm using the changes in, so over here, I store the last rotation, then I get the current rotation, and then I get the current rotations forward, and I simply just do a dot product of this to get the X, blah, blah, blah. And I'm, based off of the difference in rotation between this frame, like between this tick and the last tick, I would like set the X and Y, by the way, is like the, okay, so what happens? So what happens is this. You go in, let's say you're looking this way, and you go in, I kind of get where you're looking, and then like at a 90-degree angle in this direction, like forward, I draw a box. And on that box, like that flat box, is where this thing is going to be moving around. That way it doesn't get, it doesn't look tilted on this. It doesn't tilt or has any weird rotation. I mean, it really doesn't, but to just in case of, you never know, I actually have the material. It's a sprite, so it's always going to be facing your camera. So I draw like a plane, an imaginary plane. Here I have like the start left, start up. Plane distance is how far it is from the screen. 12 is the minimum before it clips into the camera. Yep. Oh, that is how I did it. So you're looking around, and I'm using the changes in the actual look around to control the cursor. The thing is, if you used UI, because you can use UI and you can like, still, because it's still X and Y, right? You would drive the X and Y on the screen. Now, the first thing is this. If you used UI input mode none, then if the player set his HUD scale to anything but 100, it would shrink the thing, like the whole stuff. And then when it shrinks it, then you don't have a way, like your mapping of when it's like, let's say when it's at this position, I want to fire this ray in this direction. Your mapping of that, all the math you did for that will just be wrong, because wherever it is visually showing up on their screen when they're clicking is not going to be where your math is, calculating for. Of course, you can ask them for their HUD scale, but I mean, first of all, that's just, yeah. And not, okay, that's the first thing. You can ask them for their HUD scale, but then there's also the fact that people on console, there's like safe zones and stuff, and that also affects the HUD scale. So that's a no-go. Now, you could do input mode all, and then, it doesn't scale. But the problem is, once you do input mode all, you can no longer rotate your character. That's just it. You can't rotate your character. Yeah, so you just can't even drive it. And then initially what I was doing was I didn't even think about the rotating character, but the main issue was like, oh, if you have implement all, you can't listen for input trigger clicks. I sort of like had an idea lately. Oh yeah, holy moly. That would be terrible. Oh wait, I actually have a secondary idea that I want to implement that would use UI. But I just haven't gotten around to doing it. I will talk about it in a moment. Let me just finish off with okay, so that's what the visualize free cursor is just getting their position every tick, and it's setting, it's setting the position of the thing based off of their change in rotation. This is almost done pretty much. Oh yeah, so I get the sweep results, sweep hits. Sweep hits has, it has these nice things. The source, it has all this information, which is just like you can do a lot with this. It has a lot of information. But then I get that, and then I have like my interaction candidates, and I just like filter what to trigger based off of it. So like that's the high level overview. The secondary thing that I was gonna say, but to do with UI, I haven't tested it, and I'm kind of scared. I got the idea when I played. There's this game that's on Roblox that Kanduk made on Fortnite. It's a bomb thing, and I was like, wait, that's cool. And then I realized how he was doing it. Is that you can have UI implement all, and then you just have like buttons, right? And then yeah, you just have buttons like in a grid across the screen. And then you would map each button, like you would do the math to see, okay, this button over here that got clicked, fire array in that direction, right? But of course, the sort of like the main issue, now that there's, that would be such a, oh, that would be a nightmare to set up. Yeah, setting it up with, oh, now there's verse events in UMG. I guess you could like put it, but like basically you would have buttons across your screen. And the amount of buttons you'd have, kind of like similar. Okay, think of it like this. Like I have this thing. Oh wait. So like you can set the resolution, and it's like, okay, this is big. I can set the resolution of this. Let me just do that real quick. So let's say 10 by 10, right? Because why not? I don't think anybody's going to like I'm actually worried, or would I say concerned about the lag. The lag is what really gets me. Okay, so you can, where is the hole? Oh, there it is. You could have like the little buttons, and yeah, you could have buttons. Oh my god. Actually, now I think I haven't tried. I want to test this. Theoretically, theoretically sounds great. Let me turn. Actually, I don't need that, and then I can just set this to 0. Oh shit. Okay, so theoretically, I should be able to like put. Damn. I might crash just now. I might actually crash, but let's see. This is gotta be 1,000 boxes. Let me make it big so it's kind of like sensible still. Okay. So 1,000 boxes. Why not? It's either gonna lag or it's not. I think it will. Because why not? Or I might just crash. You never know. Alright, Mona Lisa. Let's do it. Oh shit. Okay, so yeah, don't do that. Don't. Yeah, yeah, yep, yep. Oh yeah. All right. So basically, what am I even doing for the thing I just tried to do right now? That you should absolutely not do. I just try to instantiate. Let's see. A sliding tile puzzle. I have start game, scrap, spawn tiles. There we go. Oof. So pretty much just try to add 1,000 entities in one tick. That's the problem, is the fact that I did it in one tick. This should be possible, but let me see. If I damn, suspense. Yep, so it's gonna be here. Let's just spawn. Why not? If I can type spawn that, and now I'll do like every. I know it can add 100 for sure because I've done 10 by 10. So I'll do if mod index by 100 equals 1 equals 0. Oh, huh. Oh, would you look at that? Oh, that's what I was going to do. All right, so oh no, man, I need to push changes, and I know for a fact this thing's gonna crash. It's gonna get to 67. I'm not even trolling. It's gonna get 67, and it's just going to probably, I don't know. Hopefully not, but yeah. Let me try to see if I can actually. I didn't expect. Oh, I didn't expect you or anyone to join up. So I didn't set the stream to be like the super low latency stream. I don't have it on like the super laggy stream either, but like, let me see if I can like bump it up a little bit so I can see your messages in real time. Oh, it didn't crash. It really does do that a lot. Yeah, we were too late. Way too late. Way too late, actually. Creators, creative. No, discover. Sponsored. Oh, okay. Well, not now, but there was a 7. I was about to say 67, like a flipping unk. There was a 6-7 RVB and sponsored like a while ago. What is this still doing here? Oh man, that would have been a banger. And then it would have died out. Did I cry? I didn't crash. It's crazy. Oh, but yeah, my cursor stuff. Oh, never mind. Called it. Literally to no one's surprise. Look at that. Yeah, but now that my cursor stuff is finished, this is how I use the cursor. on this is how I use the cursor. And oh, and with this cursor actually was the first time I played around with interfaces. And first time I actually went around and like set access specifiers for pretty much everything. But yep, here I have, I'm trying to actually find the flipping thing. Okay. Right there. I have this cursor mode listener interface. Okay, man, like let's not make it. I mean, we're already too late, so I have these callbacks. I have oh, this one. On interaction detailed, on interaction async, blah blah blah, async, and then cursor interaction event. So I can subscribe to this one, and I can put things like I can override this, and things would happen in the overridden. So, like for example, I'm overriding this. So anytime a cursor clicks on something with this component, it would automatically run this code. And then, oh wait, I want to show like a subscription one. Now I think about it, I would say the cursor is pretty much matured because I kept, when I finished it initially, I kept on adding things, and the last thing I added was here in the clock, because I realized that that is what I'm planning on doing, where it's like, because I was gonna make videos, right? Actually, if you go look at Prismatica Dev's stream, if you look at his stream, it's kind of like the same format if you look at the title of my stream. Anyway, I was trying to get back into making videos for specific reasons. That I do have to make videos, but I really can't think of things to make a video on. So in the end, it was like, well, I'm always on every day doing stuff, like, you know, either modeling something or building something. I'm pretty much going to be, it's like, you know what, I might as well just stream the random, yeah, just being here. And the whole idea is, because I used to do, like, I'm in the, oh no, you're not in here. Oh, damn. All right. So I'm always in, damn, god damn. Okay, so I'm always in here, and people drop by and ask questions and stuff. And I, you know, well, anyone helps really. But oh, bro's already left. How do I get back? Oh, yeah. So like, well, I'm always streaming in there pretty much. So I might as well just do the stream on YouTube instead. Might as well do the stream on YouTube and solve the video problem where I don't know what to make a video about. Plus, making videos are pretty time consuming. All right, so double click. Shit, there's no way. There is no way. Okay. Wait, it did it, I think. It didn't. Yep. Starting. Oh no, it's still doing it. Yeah, it is. It's going crazy. It is going crazy. Okay, so maybe adding 100. Did it? Oh yeah, it still did. Okay, so this is just too much. Well, what was I thinking? Of course it's too much. Let's do, where is it? Okay, so kind of don't want it to like, you know, space out too much. because it really should be quick. So what I will do is, I already have this and I already have that. So I wanted to sort of like scale with this. I wanted to scale with this. So it's like, if this is 1,000, then I want it to sleep every 10. But if it's 100, then I don't want it to sleep. That kind of thing. Anyway, I'll think about the math later. Probably some inverse reciprocal, some reciprocal value thingy would go into it. Let me see. But for now, I kind of want to see it spawn 1,000 grids, so I'm just going to like spawn one. I would say it is the most advanced when it comes to like gameplay stuff. But that's the thing, like once it's like once you get into Scenegraph, this like the gameplay things, like yeah, they're not like beans, right? Like but like once you get into Scenegraph, it stops looking advanced. It just looks like something you would just, you know, go out and do. Right? Like you just think about the math for it, maybe that at most it's like some, you know, math to help make, or some method. Like for example, like you would think differently, but it wouldn't be like advanced. Like I made this. Okay. So wait, I'm like not like a confession, but I obviously modeled this before, like this outer frame. So I didn't really spend much time because it was literally the same thing. So I wouldn't say I modeled this in for anyway, but you know what? Now I think about it, yeah. Okay, let's just ignore the model. I did have to model. I didn't just like rip this model and like I had to redo things because this is like 512 and this is 1 meter. But basically from rearranging this model to suit, because there's some math that goes in behind this. Yeah, like that's what I'm trying to explain. Like the thinking. So this whole thing, right? Like from the modeling. Oh, not modeling again. I don't want to belittle, but I didn't like model it from scratch. Basically, I already had that. But like this whole thing from modeling to programming the gameplay, right? Under 4 hours. Under 4 hours. So like with Scenegraph, like you're not thinking too hard about like the doing of it. Like how do I put it? Like the actual, like look at the code. It's less than 400 lines. Like that's it. And of course, a lot of lines are, you know, my auto-filled comments and stuff. The doing of it is not that hard. Like it's once you okay. Like obviously from Creative 1.0, I would say okay, that's complex because like I mean, look at it. It's not static. Wait, let me just go up. Please don't crash, bro. Okay, something's happening. Nope. Huh. Anyway, maybe the 1,000 entities is a bad idea. But it's dynamic. Okay, hold up. I should just stop doing this 1,000 entities nonsense, bro. To be honest, I should really just stop it. Why am I? Oh, okay. You've already seen it's dynamic, right? The not tough, but I would say the harder part of the whole thing was the approach. So like thinking about how I wanted to do this. And the solution I had, like I came up with, was for the dynamic scaling, this is like this. Each tile is one block. Oh, no. It's based off of this, which is the debug settings. So experience, island settings, debug. So you just turn on debug, and then you have debug commands. So what you can do is in the search bar, because now we have the ability to set inputs, like, like shortcuts. So if you set a shortcut for the search bar, that shortcut would open the debug thing. Oh, and then of course I have like you can see in the corner there, input override. Oh wait, here. So I have shortcuts for H is to hide the entire thing, except for the TPS thing is, it's custom verse stuff. But then the teleport is T. And anytime you run any of these functions, right? I don't know, teleport's endpoint. Oh, maybe not there. But anytime you run any of these functions, it just like it sends that stuff. But I guess they reuse the widget in the island transaction, but it doesn't have anything to do with the island transaction. So like Scenegraph, this was literally okay. Oh, that is still running. That is still running. That is still running. Wait. 100 times 100 is 10,000. It's trying to. I didn't think about it. It's actually trying to spawn 10,000 grid. Anyway, damn. Wait, is it? Or am I stupid? No, it's 10,000. 100 times 100 is 10,000. Good lord. Wait, does that mean you can't have a grid that is 1,000? No, you can. I think it's like 25 by 25. Anyway, Scenegraph, right? It's tools. Like it's the tools to do things, right? That you're able to arrange stuff like this, get the local, like this sliding tiles thing relies heavily on it relies heavily on the fact that I'm able to parent the tiles to the board, and then when the tiles are parents of our children, oh, it still crashed. When the tiles are children of the board, I'm able to get like their local transforms, right? That's like the main tool that made this easy. I don't have to do any weird calculation of whatever. Like you can scale the board to whatever scale you want. Like if let's say I took this, let's say I put the board at its original size, right? And I moved, this is the child, I just moved it to like 50. Because the board is 100 centimeters and the child's 100, so 50 is halfway. Even if you took the board and you like made it like super big, this is still 50. So that's like that's kind of what's going, that's like the main feature I'm relying on for, doing the board stuff. It's the fact that I can add all the tiles. I can dynamically parent things while the game is running. Because when the game is running, you press play. Based off of how much ever grid size you give it, it will create the tiles and it would make it children of this. So let's say I wanted a 3 by 3, like a standard 3 by 3. What I do is I just, I create the stuff, I create 9 of them. I'll divide the scale by 3 because, 3 by 3, divide by 3, and it'll give me one of those. And then I know to move it by like 100, 100 divided by 3. Boom, right? And then I just create a grid based off of that. So it's like Scenegraph lets you easily just do that. I didn't have to go do any word calculation, whatever. Right? But what you need to do is change how you approach. Like for this thing, you know that it's gonna have, wait, I can actually, it's gonna have, oh no, I made that for this one. For this thing, it's gonna have like an empty slot. That empty slot isn't actually empty. It's just like the slots are fully filled. What I did is the last one, I just go and I tell it to don't be queryable so that you can't actually click on it with my cursor, and then just don't be visible. Boom. So what I'm doing is whenever you try to make a play, I will check, are you close to the invisible one? If you are, I get the position of the invisible one, and then I just tell the one that you just try to click to, I create keyframes to move to that position, and then I tell the invisible one to swap with. So you see, like, I'm not actually doing math of like, oh, I'm keeping track of like an invisible slot and I'm doing math of, no. I'm literally just saying there's an invisible one there. Obviously you're not seeing it, but just swap, just change positions. So the way you think, I mean, obviously you can go the other route of like, doing the math and keeping track of positions and I don't know, whatever, but you don't have to do that. I mean, at least in my opinion. You just, like, for example, this thing, it's literally just when you click, play a keyframe to move the knife up. If the knife hits something, check what it hit. If it's the board, no, if it has a knife component, then it was a knife, bounce off. If it was the board, set it to be the child of the board. And that's it. Like, it just starts spinning. It just starts doing something. This one, there's like a little material stuff going on as well, but it's like, I have this material. Oh, wrong thing. I have this material, and this material has some parameters, which is really just, like this isn't advanced stuff. It's pretty, so you wouldn't know it if you don't, I mean, you don't know it if you don't know it, but it's not and the advanced things to know. It's something pretty simple. And what it is here, I'm just saying, okay, I can hide a portion of this. That's the upper bound, that's the lower bound. So I thought about it this way. Whenever you make a cut on the bread, one side has got to go. So if you cut like here, I know the bigger side always has to go. So I just need to, where you cut, is it closed? Like what value is it? Let's say you cut here, that's 0.7, right? I would just set this one 0.7. Boom, that's it. Now, how do I get the 0.7? Again, relying on that scene graph thing that, if I go in here, if you go here, the knife starts at, the actual thing is goes from 0 to 100. So like this square is 100 units. So the knife, at this position, when it's on the red, when I go to 100, boom, I know it's at the end. So whenever the knife is like, moving around and you click to cut, I kind of stop it, and then I just do, it's a function, right? It's a baguette cutter, right? The knife, when you cut, uncut, I check if you can slice. just a bunch of random stuff. Can slices like when you cut, I turn this to true. So if so that basically you can't like do another cut while the animation and all that stuff is playing. But then I simply just um, play. So this animation here, cuts keyframe is just to go up and like do the cut. But that obviously that's not important. I pause it, I play the cut keyframe, and then I just check where is the knife on like the current position. You do that. So there's get local transform, and then there's get global. Local will get you, the local based off of what parent it has, and global will get you. So for example, the local transform is 74 because it's parented to this, but then the global transform could be like, I don't know, global transform is from here, local transform is from the parent. So for the knife one, I just get the local transform, and I know, because I know it's like it's 100. Like for example here, it would be 70. Well, the knife would be 70, 70. Let's say the thing is 70. So then I just divide that by 100, and I just pipe that into my material. I just pipe that in there, 0.7. And you see, like, the actual, like, it's just changing how you think about how you approach the problem. But the way you actually, like, go out and type and do it, very easy. Like, the tools, it's not, something like, I don't know. I can't even show any. Okay, wait. Yeah, it's not something like this. Like, it's not something like this. Whatever the heck this is. I know what this is, but it's not something like this. It's not, it's rather simple stuff. So, like, this map has, I would say, the most complicated gameplay I've ever written, in terms of, not in terms of it's complicated, but in terms of from the perspective of just regular UEFN or just Fortnite creative. Like, you're not doing this shit without like 1,000 switches or whatever. But the actual implementation of it is very easy. So Scenegraph is, I'm just trying to explain, like, Scenegraph is not hard in itself, but you just have to change the way you approach problems, right? Like this clock. How can you do? You can make the clock in like regular Fortnite, but the clock, it's simple, right? When the clock on begin simulations, like once you just drop it, you make a copy, whatever. Once it's in the world that is running, it would just run this function. It even just runs it once. It's not even a suspense function. It just does what it does. It just gets the current time. Based off of this time, it would calculate the angle the hour hand should be, the angle the minute hand should be, the angle the second hand should be. It would just put them at those angles, and it would just start like it would just start like keyframes. And the keyframe isn't like, okay, go from this minute. It just, the keyframe just says go in a circle infinitely. Just go in a circle. So the heavy math, quote unquote, is just, where should the hand start? Like, what angle, should the hand start at? Boom. And then, like the whole learning Scenegraph process, I would say, is mostly just learning the little quirks. For example, was, I mean, I guess this is not just like Scenegraph stuff, but animation components. Animation right now, it's quaternion based. The rotation is quaternion based, so it goes the shortest distance. So if you want to go in a circle, you wouldn't put 360 because it wouldn't move. It would just, it wouldn't take the long route. It would just go the shortest distance, which is nothing. So then that's why I, like, in my create keyframes, here I'm actually, for the second keyframe, I'm doing like 60 keyframes of you know, tiny little movements. And I'm doing make rotation degrees here. But now that I know how to do like with radians, it would actually be easier. Just understanding that like 360 or a circle is 2 pi radius, right? I try to write 2 pi and I just wrote nonsense. So if you want something to go half a circle, that is just that divided by 2. If you want a third of a circle, that is 2 pi r divided by 3. So if you wanted to go 60 chunks of a circle, that would be that divided by, you know, the more you learn, but Scenegraph in itself is just, it's not something extra. It's literally just, you know, a module here that has some, not just the module, obviously there's other things as well, but like it's pretty straightforward and easy. Once you get into it, it's like, oh wow, that's easy. You know, it's like, damn, you can. Right now it's just, oh my god, I don't want to say this, but right now it's more like, I wouldn't say laziness, but I don't even know how to explain it. The fact that, like, if I want to make a game right now, there's a game I want to make. I want to make this. Oh wait, I guess I should show like this. Oopsie. Sorry about the flashbang, by the way. I want to make this. It's very nice. It's simple. It's called clean UI. You're gonna have buttons. You're gonna have buttons. You're gonna have this bar. You're gonna have a timer, like very nice and clean. You're gonna have 2 buttons here. You're gonna have a counter. And then like you have these, and then the actual thing when it gets to it. I would say doing stuff in UEFN. Most of the math for game dev specifically doing stuff in UEFN, right? Like there are some videos I even want to watch. Did I remove the flipping video? Oh yeah, there we go. So like you have this. Please don't be loud. Please play. So this is like a 3-hour and it's a part 1, but it's like, I haven't watched it yet. So but this is supposed to be like a deep dive, right? But stuff like this, okay, I have watched this one, and in depth. I watched this one when I was, because I wanted to make, like I was building my modules, right? And I really wanted to understand like what was going on behind the lerp and shaping functions. So I don't know if you, let me see, 1 second. Uno momento. Let's not do this 100 nonsense. Let's do like 4. Or maybe 5. 5 is good. Jesus Christ. 55. Then let's reset that. Plop it back down. Okay, I think it was 3. Yep. Good Lord. There we go. Boop. Maybe not, but it's all right. Okay. So shaping functions. We've got our beautiful. What the heck? I feel like I must have touched something at some point. Because why is it starting solved? Oh my god, bro. Anyway, So yeah, doing UEFN, most of them doing, and actually, I would say a good chunk of them I'm actually just doing materials, right? Because it was like, oh, with materials, you really have to start thinking about the math you're doing. But yeah, and the thing about learning, I don't know, just like material stuff, it's like, okay, like again, you don't have to like memorize everything down to the T. Right? Some things start making sense the more you just like, okay, if I were to do, let's say, I don't mess up I don't mess up these things. Oopsie. No. Nope. Ba, 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 ba. Material. M underscore play. G. Okay. So let's say, something as simple as a circle. You want to, you have, you have, you have coordinates, graphs. You have a left from 0 to 1. You have a right. You have a top down from 0 to 1. Moving, like it all just adds up. Useless. I would say it's more of a like target. I would say it's more productive to, because the thing is, and the person, like this video, he doesn't explain all the game dev math, right? But this, if you go watch this video, he talks about it in a pretty, it makes sense way. But most of the math for game dev, it's not like it's not much. It's actually like a very small, it's not like very small, but it's a small subset of, depending on, type of stuff you're trying to do. If you're trying to do physics stuff, then there's like, let's say, well, again, that also is kind of broad, but not like broad as in as big, but like the physics thing. So like you could be doing like fluid physics or, rigid body physics. But let's just say regular game dev stuff. The math to do this, the math to do, there isn't even math here or there. Like you could just go and watch like 1 or 2 YouTube videos and, get the overall, sorry about spinning, get the overall general knowledge here. Of course, again, one thing I would say is like, all these are better off, they become more useful the more you apply them. So the more you do things with them, because when you do stuff with like, oh, I want to move this line down, how do I shift this entire thing? Okay, well, add 0.5. Oh, negative 0.5. Hey, now you shifted everything down. You're actually supposed to subtract 0.5, but I don't want to subtract 0.5. Now you shift everything down. The more you, and of course you also shifted this guy to the left too. Combine both of them, and now you've got this. The more you do, the more it makes sense. And you sort of like start seeing like, oh, like if you just go study the math, it's like, oh, well, I mean, I know that you can do this now, but like how can I apply this? Yeah, I guess that's the word. How can I apply this? The more you do stuff like practical with the knowledge, you're like, okay, now I shifted this. What now? Okay, I shifted this, but this is 0, that is 0.5. So this is 0, this is 1. If you subtract 0.5, you're subtracting 0.5 from every point along the way. So this place that is 1, you subtract 0.5 from it, it's now 0.5. This place that is 0.5, you subtract 0.5, it's now 0. That's kind of how the math works. So when you plug this in, it kind of shifts, right? So you can sort of visualize the values. Okay, this is 0, this is 0.5. If I wanted to go back to 1, what do? You multiply by 2. Because when you multiply by a number, you're multiplying everything across the board. So 0 stays 0, but 0.5 becomes 1, 0.25 becomes 0.5, kind of like that. When you see this in action, the more you do it, it kind of internalizes, okay, this is what's happening because I did this operation. I did this operation, it did that. I did this operation, it did this. If I were to do, okay, so now this is negative, this is going to negative, right? Minus 1, minus 1. If I were to do an absolute, which would cancel all the negatives, oh, great. Now it's going positive. So 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. The more you do it, the more you internalize, you kind of get the use cases like pat down in your brain, because how it usually often goes is this. Okay, I want to make X and X. What operation or set of operations do I need to do to reach that result? Right? That's usually how it goes. And it's like, okay, you start off with a value. Either you start off with the whole value, right? Or you start off with the, a gradient of sorts. Or you start off with a value and you just want to go from there to there, from A to B. And it's like, okay, I don't know what do I do here to get to there? You start off, you learn individual things, hence Prismatica, because he just teach in Prismatica or HotD. You learn individual things, and the more you do them, the more you kind of like get familiar with their effects. Now that this stuff is going, like this, I know that if all of a sudden I just did like a length, I get boom. And now, anyway, okay, you learn the effects of the math operations, and when you need them, they show up. So basically, with college courses, they're not, they're obviously not bad, but it's all about like time and target. So in college, they had us doing French. I went to learn computer science. They had us doing French. They had us, jogging was a course. Like waking up at 5 a.m. and jogging a certain distance around the entire flipping campus. That was a course. The fuck does that have to do with computer science? They had us doing English. Bro, what? So it's not useless. Obviously, that covers some other stuff, but it's all about targeting, right? If I just want to know how to do this, I'm better off going to watch like a, max, like let's say four 10-minute videos. Spend 40 minutes, and now I know how to do this. Thickness. I don't even know what I'm doing at this point, but I'm just doing random stuff. But basically, the knowledge is out there. It's on YouTube. It's on, Udemy, it's on Coursera, it's whatever. Of course, YouTube is good because it's free. But the knowledge is out there. let's say if I just do 0, I just do 1, and now I can draw a circle just like that. The knowledge is out there. It's all about like the fastest is okay. Think of it this way. Let's say you want to drink, you want a cup of coffee. You can either go to the store, buy some beans, go to the I don't know, Home Depot, whatever, get a coffee grinder, go to Walmart, get an electric kettle. No, no, what am I talking about? Electric kettle. Go to the woods, get some wood, and then, oh, hello, kettle, welcome. And then you know, start making coffee, or you could just go to Starbucks and get a cup in like 15 minutes. It's kind of like that. That's what I was saying. Like you can same result at the end. I mean, at school, your coffee might be, you know, if you make the coffee yourself, actually, there's no guarantee that the coffee would be like, you know, nicer than the Starbucks one, whatever, because that you made it yourself doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good. It just means you made it yourself. Or you could just go to Starbucks and get the coffee and go about your day, right? It's all about time. Time just being precious that we don't have that. Okay, hold up. Getting existential here. It's all about time being precious. So just spending time wisely. You would learn, I mean, eventually, after like 4 years of school, you would learn how to make a flipping circle. Like you would learn the math behind why you get a graph. Actually, you don't get a graph. The thing is, we had this graph. This graph started here. We don't want it there. We want it centered. So how do we center these values? We do this. And then like extra knowledge in hypothetically speaking, I will speak non-hypothetically here, but I did not learn how to center graphs or okay, let's not. I mean, I was gonna say center graph is like, oh my god, what is it doing? It's just a simple center graph. Let's go to something actually. I made this one myself. So this I would use this as I'm going to answer your question, don't mind me. I'll use this as an explanation of how things like compound. So before that, you can see there's been a few. Okay, wait, not that one. That one's not a good example. This is a good example, right? I don't know how to make this. I mean, I didn't know how to make this, right? I had to translate someone's math to, by the way, I actually made it like nicer. Added more iteration. This was how it used to be, right? It was grainy, and then I just realized, oh wait, did more iterations, and now it's so nice. I didn't know how to make this. I just saw the math for it. I was like, okay, he's doing this calculation, and he's looping over it a bunch of times, and he's getting this. And I just copied. I mean, he didn't have the notes. He had the math. So I just took my time. This plus this minus. I was just connecting nodes, right? I didn't understand fully what I was doing, but I was doing it anyways. And I was like, okay, at some point, like, come on, at some point in connecting these nodes, I would see what this thing is doing. I'd be like, oh, okay, that's doing that. Oh, that's doing that. You know, I didn't understand the grand scheme of things, but in this little pocket, I understood that you do a dot product of whatever value this is, you'll get that. Boom, you get a circle, a signed distance field. And then you can subtract to like move it out. You know, I kind of understood this little pocket. Maybe I understood this little pocket. But at the end of the day, I copied and I made this. I took a little, I learned a little things from, I learned something little from there. At the time then, I couldn't really go out and make anything close to this. Fast forward like a few, I don't know, months into the future, I also had the opportunity to copy the math from this. This is the same guy. He had this math. And then while I was copying the math here, which is actually pretty simple, I looked at this portion and I was like, wait, all this does is it makes a circle. And then we apply these transformation on the colors to the circle. And that's when it hit me. I had an idea. I kind of from Figma, I saw like Apple's squircle thing and the math to get a squircle kind of like went a little rabbit hole. And I kind of thought that you um, get the coordinates like a graph still, um, you scale it up by a power of 4. You add the x and the y together, and then you scale it back down by the inverse of 4, and you get a squircle where if you slide the 4 around, you can move between a square. You can move between a circle and a square. So that, you know, I had I had this one knowledge from now I didn't copy someone's math directly, right? This was the guy's math. I didn't copy this, but I like again, little pockets. I looked at this little thing, I was like, oh, this is what's happening here. I know this other thing, which is I kind of put it in I put it in here, which is this. And I'm like, okay, well, I can do like a custom thing. So I replaced, you can see it's 1 minus here, 1 minus. I just replaced this part, and then I made this part. So now I have this, and I say, I think it looks nice. And then of course I'm like, oh, how can I make this nicer? And then I remembered something else of a random thing, and I just connected and boom. Now, all the knowledge here and here, I can only use these because these knowledge were mine. I didn't like copy, like this was from, the other one, obviously. This isn't really, this is literally just making a rounded rectangle and adding them together. And then of course there's this one, which this is the first shader I have made completely on my own with no parts from no parts, right? All the knowledge from here I cannot trace a single one of them back to college, right? I can't trace a single, I can't look at a single one of these and go like, oh, okay, I kind of learned this in college. If I didn't go to college, I would not have learned this. Nuh-uh. Mm-mm. Actually, what the heck did I even? I learned how to code in Python and some other C family languages. And then how to, okay, wait, I mean, I guess, when we did the Pono 1v1, the database, the database for that kind of came from college stuff. I learned MySQL in college, I guess, but like, that was just the one thing. That was just the one thing. Everything I know now doing in UEFN, I would say I learned doing it in UEFN, like just straight up, nothing college specific. I mean, basic math stuff, but I wouldn't say that's college specific. I actually have not done anything college. Okay, look, okay, I did this. Okay, this was not this one, the real one. I knew how to, I know the math to get the tan h of a value, but then that's not really a college specific thing. You could literally just Google it, right? Heck, I did this college specific, I guess you would say, but I'm not even using that one because it creates artifacts. I Googled these. What are the biggest maps you've had a part in? Some of them I can't say for NDA reasons. I'll steal the brain rot. Creative 2.0 maps. Huh. Damn, what are the biggest maps I've had to hand in? Oh, let's let's go with finest TV2 realistics. Yeah, I've had a hand in that one. Is that a big map still? Did it fall off? I hope not. Finest TV2. Yeah, let's just. How big of a business when it comes to it gets really big. It gets really big. It gets huge. But it's not something that is like not, you can't handle. It depends on, usually, personally, I'm more of a solo guy, I would say. More of a solo guy. Yep. I map making, college, not a lot. YouTube, yes, a lot. I would say the main, like, just getting good learning resources, because there are so many people teaching on YouTube, right? Okay, you know what? Actually, the college thing, like, it kind of indirectly helped, because in college, sure, we had the slides, we had the books, but if I wanted to learn, I don't know. Okay, there are things where it's like you would rely on the good you would rely on you would rely on the good old trusty Indian tutorials, right? You just had to, like, you 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 only know if you know, right? They teach well. So I would say learning, man, I'm saying a lot of things, but learning how to, like, within 5 minutes of looking at, like, let's say I want to learn how to do, um let's say I want to learn how to do, like, if I go on my YouTube is probably not too, mm, good Lord, what is my YouTube? um huh let's say I want to learn, that's crazy. Let's say I want to learn, what do I want to learn? How to make ice material UE5. Right, knowing how to search is also a good thing. um and then I started watching Unreal Matter. What was this, 3 years ago? And then I started watching a video on it. Okay, so there's people teach, and when you watch a lot of tutorials from a lot of different people, the key is to watch tutorials on the same thing from different people, right? Ice, ice. I mean, you could say, okay, you've already learned how to make ice. Why are you going to watch another ice tutorial? But ice, you watch ice. Okay, you get the point, right? You watch a lot of tutorials on the same thing from a different people, you would realize that some people, like, not they teach better, but you understand some people's way of teaching better than others. And then when you kind of figure out what way of teaching, like, you understand the most, what you want to do is go find out people who teach like that. Because ideally, when you go to watch a tutorial, you don't want to watch a tutorial and at the end you still don't understand anything, right? You want to watch a tutorial, and at the end of watching the tutorial, you know you want to be able to go away with good knowledge. And even better if you can watch the tutorial on like 2x speed, just because time is precious. Um, so finding, first of all, knowing how to knowing how to discern between someone who can teach good and someone who can't is a skill. Because you think about it, how can you tell if someone can teach well if you don't, like, let's say I don't know how to make ice. Who the heck, like, how do I put this? How can you claim to be a good, you gotta speak through it. How can you claim to judge if this guy can teach properly if the thing he is teaching if you don't even know it, right? That's kind of a skill. You like being able to like look at someone who's teaching something that you don't know, and you'd be like, okay, this guy is not going to teach this thing well. Don't waste time. That's a skill I would say I picked up from basically looking at someone and understanding that, okay, this guy is just going to yap and I'm not really going to understand stuff. That's a skill that I would say I got, I kind of like got in college because you didn't have time, but you had to learn. You had to watch the tutorials. So being able to sift through the tutorials without like going through all of them fully, you had to just develop the the know-how or whatever. So basically, finding good tutorials. You need to find good tutorials, and for you to find good tutorials, you need to know how to sort of same thing applies to search, knowing how to search for stuff. Like when I type wood sliding on wood free download SFX. I mean, that's not legible English, but it is going to give me the results that I want. Knowing how to search, I mean, obviously you can even go deeper with the advanced search on Google and whatnot, but like knowing how to search is a skill, knowing how to get good tutorials is a skill. So when UEFN dropped, first thing I did, like right off the bat, was to just go through and just figure out who I would follow. I watched a lot of tutorials and figured out like, okay, this guy, like there's this guy on Corrupt Games, and he can. Wait, I shouldn't be calling out people on YouTube, but this guy, he almost never has a tutorial for what you want. You will search up and you would see a video from him for the thing you want to do, but then it's like he's offering like it's a paid thing. Look, you want to learn how to make this? He's not teaching you. He's telling you to go to the marketplace and go buy it. That's usually how it's. So I generally, like let's say I wanted to learn how to make it this, blah blah blah. When I search it and I'm going through the stuff, I would just automatically skip all Corrupt Games things. Found out this guy, Prismatica Dev, goated. 5-minute materials. They're never 5 minutes, right? They're really never 5 minutes. Where are you at? Every single one of them. Just take, boom, 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 except for the later ones, because again, I've sort of gone like okay, the thing is you start out, you don't know it, you don't know anything at all. You're just taking time watching. At some point, you will get to the point where it's like, okay, I don't know how to use, like, I don't know, what is min-max nodes, but you get to a certain point where you just open the graph, you just, type that, and you plug it in, and you just maybe connect to this and connect to that, and you just kind of start figuring out yourself. Same way in verse you would go into the digest for something, and I don't know, I just type rotation, and then I'll just scroll through and see all the things for rotation, and I'll just go through and I'll just figure out what this does based off of that, based off of the comments and stuff. It also applies in other things. So at a certain point, you stop watching tutorials, and you kind of like in the now, you figure it out. Of course, there are times when I'm like, okay, I know I can figure out how to do this, but I just can't be bothered right now. And then I would just go on the web, and by that time, you would know which direction to go, like how to search for the thing. But long story short, all the knowledge you need is on YouTube, right? All the knowledge you need is on YouTube. All the knowledge you need is on YouTube. So when it comes to making stuff that are advanced, if you want to call it that, I wouldn't say anything I make is advanced. It's just because at the time of making it, it's like, I don't know how to put it. I'm not trying to, say, oh my God, it's so easy. But like, it's really more of a, you think about it and then you just go out and, you just go out and just do it. It's more like that. When was the last time I watched a movie? I don't know. Oh, snap. Oh, never mind. Anywho, that's the Scenegraph encouragement. Right now, it just boils down to, what am I gonna make? That's the next thing I'm gonna make, actually. Mm-hmm. 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 But life really is, it really is simple. If you want to make something, then, and you don't know, you don't have the prerequisite knowledge to make it, then you just go get that knowledge. And most of the time, it's really not that crazy hard. It's just all about step by step. Like, I want to make pool, and I should test Fortnite's physics. It's been a while. Pool? Yeah, pool. I want to make pool. Fortnite's physics is whack. So, I mean, Fortnite physics. I love you, Fortnite, but your physics is whack. Let's be honest. Of course. Uh, I'm planning on making my own physics. But have I ever done physics before? I have. I know the concept. It's really not that hard. A thing hits one thing, and based off the velocity of the first one, move the second one based off of where the first one was coming from and where it impacted the second one. Well, you can calculate where the second one should go. It's really not that hard. It's pretty much that, you know. Of course, you need to go learn some formulas for how to calculate what goes where, and that's the beauty about life. going to school and the schools I went to, I kind of realized at some point that, you know, it was different from every other person. And I mean every other person, like globally, right? We were required to memorize everything. Like you had to memorize everything. Holy cow. Imagine my surprise finding out people don't have to memorize everything. Like you don't have to memorize everything. Like if you don't know the formula for um projectile motion under the influence of gravity, you can just like you don't have to memorize that formula. Like you could just check it now. And that's it. Like I know this thing needs to be influenced like those balls for example. I mean their motion isn't accurate because I'm using cubic Bezier interpolation. Um Actually, now I think about it, I can actually have them have accurate motions because I wrote my own shaping functions. It won't be super accurate, but it will be close. I feel like it's not here. No way, I cannot find my stuff. Oh, no, it's not here because I haven't pushed. Okay, rip. Everyone come into this. But yeah, you don't like life is a lot easier when you realize that you can just go learn something you don't know. And if you're not understanding it, it's just because the person who's teaching it isn't teaching it properly to you. And that's why YouTube is beautiful, because so many people are teaching the same thing. So you could just go try another person. Eventually, you'll get it. Actually, I'm not gonna show. Oh, what the heck? Oh, never mind. All right. Testing physics again. I don't know, like, for some weird reason, every time I load into a UEFN session, it always takes me to like NA East or something. Oh, we can use that here. Look at that. I should have been. I don't even know what I'm doing. I might not be able to stream as much as I want to, but all right. Physics. Maybe the physics is really good and it's just my ping. I can't tell if the physics is bad because of the interactions. What the heck was that? Oh. Feels a lot better than before, actually. Oh. Okay. Well, I mean. Yep. You just need to find the correct people to watch. And the annoying thing is just that while you're looking, it just might be frustrating because like, okay, I'm not understanding this thing, and it's like most of the time you wouldn't think it's the person first of all. You would think it's yourself. Like I can't understand. Like he's obviously teaching it, right? Like he knows it and he's showing me and I just can't. But you know, you just have to change your mindset that it's not you, it's them. You're a little narcissistic. I don't understand this is because you can't teach. Just go with that mindset. It's for now, right? Holy shit! What the fuck? No language. But yep. Finding the right people is kind of where it's at. That's actually pretty good. That's way better than, well, I take that back. The heck is it doing? Oh, it's lagging probably. But yeah, the thing with Scenegraph is, especially like you already have it going good for you because you're not a verse beginner. If you didn't know verse, yeah, it's a lot better than when I made this project. When I made this project, it was not like, heck, when I made the project, you couldn't move the ball like this. This is already better than the actual ball. But when I made the project, you couldn't move the ball like by walking into it. You had to like crouch and be at the same level. Actually, let me try this. Okay, you still can't, but back then you had to like crouch and be at the same level, and it's kind of like this. It was, oh, it's actually good. No, it's better. Like it's, oh wait, it's way better. The people who went, yeah, I mean, again, it boils down to, okay, wait. Like, will I always be, am I doomed to be forever invalidated by the fact that I've gone to college already? But I mean, I learned, okay, let's go this way. I learned how to, I mean, I learned physics in college and in high school. But the thing is, actually, this physics right here, this is high school level stuff. If you want to, I mean, at least for me, it was in high school, right? This is, you know, it's, you've got hit there, knowing, I mean, okay, it's not that simple. There's stuff like taking into account the roll and then the transfer of moments and torque as well. But still, it all boils down to, okay, how good do you want to make it? Do you want to make it like super accurate? I've looked at the, because, you know, going off of pool 8, the mini ones. Yeah, I can't even play those because every single person who makes them doesn't make them right. I literally cannot play them. But Fortnite physics, I guess it's gotten good enough. I feel like that what I was experiencing just now was primarily because of my ping, I would say. Oh. Wait. I'm still streaming, I think. I think I am still streaming. No way. I'm gonna look at my stream now. Damn, boy. Of course, Weeplo strikes again. 1 second. Just definitely. All right, so yeah, it is indeed. I mean, minus this, I'm not trying to. Obviously, we're not pixel beeping here, but 40 pixels. 60. And this discrepancy right here is why this doesn't look right. But hey, it is very good. I'm obviously not judging. But that is something I noticed. All right. Oh wait, no. I just realized you probably didn't see what I should. Oh damn. Wait. Is it? Oh, okay, yeah. For some reason I can't, like, in regular Discord streams the overlay doesn't show up. But I feel like because I'm showing the capture you can see the measurement. Oh, what the? Wait, what's going on? Oh, okay. What was that just now? Anyway, but yeah, this is very nice. Oh, welcome, Vulture. Where you at? I was eating a sandwich. It's nice. It is very nice. But amongst all its niceness, oh, that's new. Pretty sad knowing that that's done with a billboard device. I mean, sad for me. Scenegraph wise, I would love to not have to rely on that device. Oh, it's working. So he either did. Oh, I can finally play. I think I could finally play. Wait, let's try this out. Oh, I can finally play. Okay, let's go back. Let's actually go and play. So those are, yes, it is. Here it is. There's the shot. Not enough coins. Should have made that a button. So you can buy coins. I'm not gonna buy coins. Yeah. I couldn't play before because of the thing I told you with the input device. He had it set to creative input actions. So either, actually I want to check this real quick. Either they've brought back the first 5, which is what I can play now, or he'd say, okay, they haven't brought back the first 5. So he probably switched to the new input actions. Maybe he did. I don't know. Or he switched. I don't know. But I can play now finally. I have not been able to play a single golf anything because I just couldn't trigger the things. Okay, I can play now. Oh. I couldn't press anything before. I'm actually happy I could play. Look at that. Just little things like these. How would you do this? The outline on the ball. I would say first off, it's a translucent material with depth test turned off. And then how are we checking that it is behind something? Oh, wait, no, I need to play. Oh, I can actually play. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's play. No, man, I suck. Okay, so he's using input actions, I believe. All right, I need to win a game now. Okay, so this is not as an orbit camera. You might not know this, but I was pretty good at golf. I've been playing many golf games ever since I was how old? Um, 8 years old. Oh, let's go full. Then right around there. I didn't see the thing. This feels great. Okay, I like that I can do that. Oh, this one's a tricky one, huh? We are not serious. We are not crazy. All right, I guess we are playing the game. Oh, okay. Um, and then a par. All right. These are nice models. No, man. Aha! Oh man, no. One of those moments where it's like, oh yeah, look at that. It's a peak out. Whew. Okay. I started getting up here. Oh wait. Okay. What's the word? Now this is something I really wish we'd get on Scenegraph and Scenegraph static meshes, because right now, yeah, it's the stuff, man. It was fun. Right now, all these are using one material, and then based off of the custom perimeter dot, I can set the ball style. And that's like super optimized because now you don't have like a bunch of material instances. Yeah, yeah, man, you know it. Just coasting off of the. Wait a minute. Oh, I guess I'm gonna have to find it manually. That sucks. But yeah, coasting off of the balls type. Here I have balls, masks, and then ball info, which is, you know, good old number strip. And then there are different styles as well. Holy moly. I'm approaching sleep territory right now. It's 3:45 a.m. Oh yeah, I did. Because okay, so what's happening here? I've got different styles actually. So I've got the regular ball set, and then I have custom ball set. Oops. I don't know what that's doing. Where, based off of the number of the ball, it can be. I think I should have like more than just one. Yeah, I don't even remember. But what I did for the, let me just switch this back to regular ball set. Yeah, I keep saying ball set. What I did is for numbers 1, like the standard, I have the colors. Because the colors repeat. I made these, by the way, in Blender. And then I baked them to the texture. And then I also baked the normals as well. Alright, so the colors repeat, and I get the ball color for 1. I have like the ball number going in here, and I have like this custom compare values, which is sort of like an equals, because we don't have pure equals in here. So this is how I did it. Or check if a value lies within this threshold, then I would consider equals to each other. Hey, I'm Gino. So I have the numbers. Oh, I have the numbers, and they go up from 1 to 16, and between 1 and 8, I do an F mod, well, which is just floating, which is just a regular mod, so it just gives me the same value. Like if you're at 1, it'll give me the color, and if you're at like 9, it'll give me the same color. And I get, that's the ball color. And then I want to do solid stripes. So if, kind of like the same thing based off of number, if you're lower than 9, then you're solids. If you're not, if you're greater than 90 solids, if you're lower than 90 solids, if not your stripes, and then that gives me the ball group. And then I combine both of them. Oh, then I have like the ball info, like the thing on the stuff. So if it is a 0, I'll get a red dot. If it is a, oh, if it's not a 0, then I'll get this, which puts the thing on. I can actually debug these. Debug cycle. That goes into ball number right there. I think. Maybe not there. Goes in there. Oh, goes into somewhere. Not there. But yep. Basically, I just compose the number on top of the whole circle, and then I push it out. So that's how I have one material, basically for every single ball. So all the balls are sharing one material, and then I'm able to either set the ball number via a parameter in the material. So if I were to spawn the balls with spawn prop, I could set the ball, or for the pre-placed ones, I could just use the custom primitive dollar to set those. And it was supposed to be a great map. It was supposed to be a really crazy map. But well, the physics was just not good enough. I'm not giving up on it though. I might have to do my own custom physics. My custom, like the physics I would do wouldn't be reactive. I think this is reactive. It's like you touch it and it's like, okay, it reacts to being hit, and it calculates all those. Because, you know, it's a turn-by-turn game, I would simply just, when a player strikes, like clicks to shoot, like play, like, you know, strike the cue, I would because you're not going to change your mind. Like once you say, okay, strike the cue, you already got that position going, right? You already got that position going. So I would calculate all the movements that it needs to take, and I will set the keyframes and I'll just play it. So it would look way smoother that way than, and like that's one way of doing it. Another way would be to write like full physics and Scenegraph. Some people have done it so that, you know, it hits and it's doing it on the fly. But again, I would rather just not do that, so that people on Hyping can also enjoy it. Does it even matter if you're on Hyping? The animation lags. Regardless, since keyframe and animation is server side. My last game was, you know what? I'll be nice to Weeplo. It was just right. I'm a nice guy. I'm just going to take a quick look at the stream. I think I have streamed for a long enough time. I don't know. Feels like I have. It's been 3 hours now. I like how it turned out. I want to kind of see the stream latency. Oh, wow, that is latent. Holy moly, that is laggy. Let me, I don't know if I can change right on the fly. Probably can't. Hmm. One momento. Okay. I am back. And unfortunately, this is where I'm going to end the stream because I am very, very, very sleepy right now. So, thank you all for stopping by. And, you know, have a good rest of your days and have a great Sunday. And I will see you in the next, I don't know. I hope I'll see you guys in the next stream. Okay. Goodbye.